Whit and I knew that the National Bureau of Standards, as it was then called, now NIST, the National Institute of Standards and Technology, had issued a request for proposals for a national data encryption standard because they saw that there was a growing commercial need for protecting unclassified but sensitive data. Oil companies drilling data, banking records, medical records. And we were wondering what they were going to come up with. And what they came up with is what is now called DES, or the Data Encryption Standard. It was proposed in March 1975 in the Federal Register. Whit and I looked at it and quickly realized, and actually Whit was the first one to realize this, that the 56-bit key was at best marginal. Now, with a 56-bit key, you have 2 to the 56 possible keys. To an order of magnitude, that's 100,000 million keys. And that seems impossible to search unless you're a computer scientist, and unless you're actually a very forward-thinking, in 1975 at least, computer scientist. What we realized is you could probably build, since DES could be implemented on a single chip with 1975 technology, that was one of the requirements. You could also implement a search engine, a cryptanalytic search engine on a single chip, searching keys. We estimated that that chip could search 1 million keys per second in 1975. And you would then buy 1 million of these chips, and you're searching 1 million keys per second. So how long does it take to search 100,000 million keys? 100,000 seconds, which is about a day. I mean, a day's closer to 80,000, but order of magnitude, it's a day. We then estimated that these chips would cost $10 each. That's $10 million for the chips. We very cavalierly assumed another $10 million for the printed circuit boards and power supplies and so on. And we then depreciated the machine, I think, over 5 years and ended up with $10,000 per solution, which seemed marginal to us, especially with the cost of computation dropping very rapidly. Naively, Whit and I sent off an analysis to NBS saying, hey, by the way, you want to increase the key size. And they wrote back after a couple of months saying, thank you very much, but this is fine. And it became clear that this really was a dangerously insecure standard, especially 5 or 10 years in the future when the cost of computing would fall by a factor of 10 to 100. Factor of 10 every 5 years. So even if we were off by a factor of 10 in our estimate in 1975, that error would be erased in 5 years when the standard was in widespread use. So after about 6 months of writing letters to NBS, and they're writing back garbage, in my opinion, it was someone, it was the IEEE Computer Society Standards Committee, the guy who was chairman of it. I thought he can do something. You know, I'm just a professor, but he's in charge of this important committee. And he said, no, I'm not going to have any more success than you. You have a political problem on your hands, not a technical one. We had a huge fight with NSA over this, and we lost. The standard stayed at 56 bits.